Howdy, men. Welcome to the Wolf and Iron podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first time tuning in, I wanted to let you know that the Wolf and Iron podcast is all about helping men heed the high call on their lives. I believe there's a high call in the life of every man, and that oftentimes we feel it, but we don't necessarily know what it looks like. There are fewer and fewer examples out there of what that looks like to live as a man. And so Wolf and Iron is to help us get an idea of what that looks like, and some inspiration as well, some direction on that high call. This is what I'm calling the Truck Talk podcast episode format. As you can hear, things are sliding around in my truck. There are turn signals on and all the natural happenings of driving a truck. And these are really just informal recordings. I'm in my truck right now, going down the road, heading back home, actually. And this is just a way for me to chat with you guys a little bit more informally without all the technological kind of stuff in between, and just sharing some thoughts. Right now I have a bit of a cold. It seems like this time in North Carolina it's always cold season for me, but I'm going to power through. I want to talk to you guys about something that I heard actually on the Self-Made Man podcast, which I'm just now discovering is the thing. And so if you guys haven't checked out that podcast, if you're all about growing as a man, it's a great podcast, especially for entrepreneurs, but really just a lot of good stuff out there. Self-Made Man podcast. And this quote actually comes from Keith Cunningham, who was a guest on the podcast. And Keith heard this quote from a Hindu guru, actually, that was a mentor of his. And the quote just hit me so hard, and it's this. He says, "Hell on earth would be to meet the man you could have been." Hell on earth would be to meet the man you could have been. I think that's just so powerful. It absolutely would be hell on earth. I mean, just think about it, guys. It could happen today. Maybe you're in your 20s, maybe you're in your 40s. I think as you get older, this gets scarier because there's less and less time to make corrections. But imagine you're in your 40s or 50s, maybe you're on the back nine of life, and somebody shows up, and it's you, and it's the guy who did and became all the potential that you had to be. And I'm going to address this starting from the good potential, all the good potential that you had to be. I want you to kind of visualize this for a second. What would this guy, how different would he be from you, or what ways would he be different? You know, I always think about the guy being fitter. Somehow he has more of his hair than I probably will at that point. He's happier. There's a certain kind of just vibrance and enthusiasm about him. Maybe he's the same age as I am, but there's something about him where he's just got more energy. He's just got this sort of, I don't want to say a glow, that's not right. But there's something about him where you say, this guy's got something that I'm missing out on. And then I think, to have a conversation with him, right? Not only am I disappointed in the man that I didn't become, but I want to know how he accomplished the things that I failed to accomplish. And you can ask yourself the same question. What would your version of you, the better version of you, say that he did differently? Maybe you already know. Maybe there's some things in your past that you can look back on and go, well, I know he wouldn't have made this stupid decision. Maybe so. Maybe he would have taken more risks. Maybe he would have spent more time investing in himself. Maybe he would have spent more time investing in other people. Maybe he would have used his time more wisely. Maybe you would ask him about different TV shows and stuff, and he wouldn't have a clue as to what you're talking about because he didn't spend his time there. Maybe he didn't get caught up in political this or that, and whatever the news of the day was. Maybe he stayed focused on something that was more important, his family, perhaps his mission. Maybe he knew what he valued, and he went after it. Maybe the times when you said no, he said yes, and the times when you said yes, he said no. But what would those be? And I imagine there are probably a few different examples in your life already where you could look back and go, yeah, he would have reacted differently when his wife said that she wanted a divorce. Or when his kid cursed him out and stormed out of the house. How would he have reacted when that happened? Or how would he have avoided that situation to begin with? And I think it's an excellent exercise. As scary as it is to think about, it's an excellent exercise. And then as I thought about that quote, I thought, the reverse is true. You could be the guy. You could be that version of yourself, right? You could be the better version of yourself that would have the opportunity to meet the guy that you could have been, right? The guy that made all the bad decisions, or made enough bad decisions. The guy that didn't follow his passions, that didn't listen to his gut enough, that allowed his divorce to happen too easily, that allowed his kids to kind of run their own life in the name of, giving them freedom and autonomy or something like that. You can meet that version of yourself, the lesser version of yourself, the sad version of yourself. And you could be the other guy. You could be the better version of yourself. And all it comes down to is choices. And we'll tell you guys this. One of the best ways that you can avoid becoming the lesser version of yourself and to become the better version of yourself, the guy that looks back and he doesn't have the same regrets that he otherwise would, that version. You want to become that guy, you've got to surround yourself with men that are going to challenge you and that are going to hold you accountable. Men, they're going to call you out on your crap. That's big, guys. Freedom is important. Don't get me wrong. I like it to have the freedom and the autonomy to think and to do what I want to do. Everybody does, I believe. But there's something about being held accountable by men you respect and keeping you on the right path. There's also something about thinking about having a vision for the kind of man you want to be. This guy that, what does he look like, right? How does he handle his finances? Is he successful in business and in his career? What does his marriage look like at the end of his life? Those kinds of things. You should have a vision for that guy in your head. And that guy should be you. And you should be thinking, I'm aspiring to be that man. The man that if he showed up at the end of my life, and I have a lot in common with him, a lot of things to talk about, and it wouldn't be hell on earth. It'd be a sense of pride for the kind of man you became. So guys, there's some food for thought for you. Brought to you by the Self-Made Man podcast, actually inspired by that. And I hope that does you some good. Let me know your thoughts on this quote and anything else you got to share. All right, fellas, take care.